Hi, my name is Greenstein, and I'm going to talk about my paper called Today's Learning Objective is to Have a Party, Plain Research with Student in a Secondary School Special Needs Unit. And the paper looks at a project I conducted with a few students in which we were trying together to design what they thought of as the best school in the world. And what I focus on in the paper is the advantages and possibilities that may come about through the use of play and fantasy as a tool for research in social reality and the social world. Now, fantasy, obviously, by its nature, is not the social reality, but it is an activity that is happening within a social space. And it's not completely governed by these rules of the social space, but it opens up a place to discuss those very norms and rules explicitly and in a way that's quite accessible for children and young people, so sort of discussing the rules of the game, so to speak, which allows a lot of insight into abstract ideas of what social life is like and what it should be like in a way that's natural for them to understand and doesn't rely on quite heavy abstract discussions. The other point about using play as a way for doing social research, and particularly for doing social research in schools, where this adult-child hierarchy is quite embedded within the situation, and this expectation that children would comply with adult requests, that the adult is the knower and the child is the learner, is really inherent to the structures and the social situations in the schools. Whereas in play, it is a situation that is very familiar to children and young people, and it's very obvious in this situation. It's part of the rules of the situation of play, that there are no right and wrong answers, that the children are free to make up their mind, to make up their worlds. So it's quite an accessible way of creating this rapport between adult researchers and young children or young people, in which they really understand that there's no right and wrong answer. They don't need to try and satisfy the researcher and guess what the researcher is looking for. So it allows for more equal power relations, not completely equal, but perhaps more equal, more open. And the other point that I discuss in the paper is the use of data and actually what constitutes data, because through the use of play, a lot of ideas came about and were expressed not through words, but through body movements, gestures, music. How do we analyze that? How do we represent that in our research reports? So the paper looks at the possibility of using comic strips as something that's between transcription and analysis, that allows use of all this varied data that's not just verbal. So that's it, and I hope you'd read the paper.